everyone! Today I would like to show you a mini album that I created. I created this one for Joanne for our swap, and I used the Prima Thyme papers. It's made from scratch. I used my cat food Whiskas boxes to create this album, and I used the Tim Holtz on the edge dies. So here I used a pillow cover. I really love the design of this rosette fabric, so that's what I used for the spine. And for the closure I made some charms, and I will show you that in a minute. So I have a photo frame on the cover, and it was white, and I went over it with snow tacks, and this comes out, and Joanne can use this as a template and adhere the photo inside if she likes. And this is a vellum rose that I created, and here are some more homemade flowers, and on top of this as well, except for the small ones, they're from my stash. And here is some bling and a Martha Stewart butterfly and a beach spray that I created, and some more homemade roses and a book paper rolled rose and the cherry blossom from my stash. So that's the front of the mini album, and this is the closure. And I created some charms and adhered them to the chain, and I will open the album for you to show you. So this is the first page, and these are some fabric flowers from my stash, and I did some masking here with the reversed chicken wire mask by the Crafters Workshop, and I created this acetate pocket, and there's a little booklet inside, and I was inspired to create this by Kathy Orta, and I will put the link to her tutorial in the description box below. So this goes, oops, I'm sorry. This opens up like this. Lots of room for pictures or journaling, and it folds like this, and the pocket looks like this, and I adhered some lace from my stash. And to bind the mini album I used this beautiful lace that was given to me by Annie, and she created an album and used this lace to bind her album, and I was so inspired by that video, and I really wanted to give it a try myself, and it works perfectly. So I will put the link to Annie's mini album in the description box below. This is the next page. This lace was given to me by Annie, Miss Garden Grove 1, and thank you so much, Annie. And this beautiful pink flat back pearl trim was given to me by Linda, Live Art Now. Thank you so much, Linda. And I have some fabric flowers from my stash that I colored with my distress inks. And here is another fabric flower, and I created this flower in the center. And here's another homemade flower and the cherry blossom from my stash, and I use my Martha Stewart butterfly bunches, and here's a key, and I did some masking, and I used my Sizzix die for this frame, and this pops out and can be used as a template for a picture here. And on to the next page, and here are some flowers from my stash and some lace from my stash, and some more of the beautiful pink flat back pearl trim from Linda, and on top as well. And I created this white flower, and this is a note card, and I created this flower center myself. I punched out a circle with my circle punch out of acetate, and then I use my glossy accents to adhere the flat back pearl and the tiny pearls here. And I have a paper doily here and a homemade envelope. It's closed with a magnet, and there's a little journaling spot inside, and I did some stamping. So this goes in the envelope. And here we have the next page. I created this flower and I used a button for my stash. And here I have a beautiful flower spray from I Am Roses, and I colored it with my homemade glimmer mist. And I have some fabric flowers in between the spray, and I have some curly cues here. And I have a piece of burlap in the background and a piece of the paper. And this is a stamp that I've had in my stash for a long time. I don't know the brand, I'm sorry, but it's a ticket stamp. And I created my own box pleated trim, and I have some bling trim that was given to me by Linda as well. Live Art Now, thank you so much, Linda. And here is another Martha Stewart butterfly and a paper doily in the background and another homemade flower. And I used my Martha Stewart punches for the leaves. And I used the Tim Holtz birdcage die to create this book. And I have some small roses from my stash here. And oops. There are a few pages for some pictures or journaling. And oops. Here's the next page. I used my Tim Holtz die, the bigger and the smaller one, to create this window. Behind the window there's this tag. It's the vintage cabinet card die by Tim Holtz. And this goes back here, so maybe she can adhere a picture and slide it behind the window. And I have some acetate as well. And here I have some cherry blossoms from my stash, and I sprayed them with the homemade glimmer mist. And here's another homemade flower with a homemade flower center, and some fabric flowers from my stash, and some more curly cues and Martha Stewart punched leaves. And this is some trim from my stash, and I used the flat back pearl trim that was given to me by Linda, and I cut them all apart and adhered them as a flower center. And this is a seam binding bow. The seam binding was white and I colored it with my homemade glimmer mist. So, and here I have some more flowers from my stash. So, and here's the next page. I have some box pleated trim that I made myself and some flat back pearl trim. And here's some lace from my stash. And this is a laser cut piece that I purchased from a local scrapbook store. And some Martha Stewart butterflies and some flowers from my stash. And the white one is one that I created myself, and I used a button for the center, and the button was gold, and I colored it with my alcohol ink. And I made an accordion pocket out of some envelopes. And for the along the edges of every page I used some gesso to distress it, and in every pocket there is a tag, and I did some coloring with my distress ink and some stamping. And here's the next one. And there's another tag here. So that's what the page looks like without the note cards. And I really love to use my on the edge dies. And here we have the next page. I did some masking, and I went along the edges with gesso and snow tags. And here I have a bingo card with a homemade flower, and I did some stamping. This is a Kaisercraft stamp, and I used my bundled sage distress ink to do the stamping. And I have a doily here in the background, and I have a paper doily, and I folded it into this pocket, and I was inspired for this by Neen, who is JJ Showers here on YouTube. And inside the pocket is a little tag, and I did some stamping, and I created this little bow out of some lace from my stash. And this is a flower that I created. I used the Tim Holtz die, and I folded it. I folded the petals so they would be more dimensional, and I have some pearls here and a fabric flower from my stash, and I created this rose as well. And here's another fabric flower. And I didn't glue this down. I didn't glue this all the way down, so she can place some photos behind this if she likes. And this is the last page. I did some more masking, and I created an acetate pocket. I'm sorry for the glare. And here I have some trim from my stash and some more pink flat back pearl trim that I received from Linda. Thank you so much, Linda. And here I have a doily that I crochet, and a butterfly from my stash, and another homemade flower with a homemade flower center. And behind the acetate pocket are two more tags. There's this one with another homemade flower and flower center. And I did some stamping. This is a Kaisercraft stamp as well, and I really love this Victorian lady. And here's the other one. I really love this one with the hot air balloon. And this is a Kaisercraft stamp as well. So this is what the page looks like without the tags. And this is the back side of the mini album. I did some more masking, and I adhered a piece of lace from my stash. So yeah, that's my Thyme mini album for Joanne, and I really hope she likes it. I had a lot of fun creating this for you, Joanne. I hope you like it as well, and I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful week. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.